All right, let's call this meeting to order. It's the Warminster Board of Supervisors for Thursday, April 7th. Let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, please remain standing. I just want to change things up a little bit. Let's have a moment of silence for all the brave people in Ukraine that are fighting for their freedom. Thank you. Okay, announcements. I just want to announce that we had an executive session prior to this meeting, and it involved litigation, personnel issues, and I believe, does that cover everything?
And labor.
And labor, yes.
Real
Yes,
estate.
and labor.
Real estate.
Okay, thank you. A couple other announcements. Mark is not able to make it tonight, so he's kindly left us with Parks and Rec announcements. Let's see. So we have a wine and cheese designer bag bingo on April 1st.
That was great.
It was sold out. That was a success. Thank you to the sponsors and everyone that attended. We're seeking sponsors for the 2022 community events, VFW Memorial Parade, Memorial Day celebration, and Warminster Day. So anyone that's interested in sponsoring should contact the Parks and Rec or the Township manager at the appropriate phone numbers. There's an annual egg scramble. That's sold out. That's nice. That's good to hear. It's sponsored by First National Bank and Trust of Newtown. But there are spaces for vendors for the community yard sale on Saturday, April 23rd, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. 20 by 20 spaces are $25. Register early on the Township website to reserve your spaces. They fill out quickly. Rubber Ducky Regatta tickets. They're on sale now. That's May 15th, 2022. Mike has plenty of them. Anybody interested that's in the audience here, see Mike. Check it out on the Township website and join us for a day for that event and the Just Ducky picnic. And I believe, Janice, you're going to be in the stream this year, correct?
I'll be in the street.
All right, very good.
No, that's
And that's sponsored by Victory Bank. Okay, park events. There's, on April 14th, there's an egg scramble. That's sold out. The Recycle Works electronic recycling, that's on April 16th. The community yard sale on the runway, that's on the 23rd. SCCA, what does that stand for?
Sports Car Club of America.
Sports Car Club of America rally at the park. It's out on the runway as well. Yes, that is on the 24th of April. And then there's the Bike USA. That's April 30th. That's on the runway. And then, of course, we have the Brad Fox 5K run. And that starts at Archbishop Wood. I think they run up York Road, and then I think we wind up over at the VFW post, I believe. And then the night before, I believe Mark usually likes to say to go over there and you can buy all kinds of tickets for the various prizes and events, yeah, and over at the Madison, yes. All right, that's what's going on in April. May, we have the food bank on the 7th, the food bank 5K run, walk. Cystic Fibrosis Foundation is hosting an event on the 14th. We have Healing Conscious Foundation on the 15th, and of course the Robert Ducky Regatta on the 15th as well. So we have stuff on the Township, www.warminstertownship.org, and then info for all the events are available at the warminstertownship.org special events, or call 215-443-5424. I have a couple announcements here. I know we like to acknowledge some of our citizens that have volunteered their time throughout the years and throughout their life. So Charlie Metzger passed away just recently. He was on the Planning Commission. I had the pleasure of working with him on the Planning Commission, and I think he was on other boards and and committees. So our thoughts go out to the Metzger family. And another gentleman who's been a great community member and has done a lot for the township, Joe Calley from ShopRite, has passed away. Joe was a very generous man, and I think he paid for the canopy over at the park. You're still working on it, right? Yeah, and what's it called again?
It's for safety.
Safety Town, right, that's right. He also was a big donor for the parade and Warminster Day, that's correct. He's going to be sorely missed, and what a great gentleman and a very generous man. So our thoughts and prayers go out to Joe as well and his family. That's the only announcements I have. I'll turn it over to you, Kathy.
I've been shopping at ShopRite for many, many years, and my heart goes out to the Cowley family. He's got a nice big family, and hopefully that'll sustain his wife and children taking care of each other. Quite a philanthropist, as Mr. Hayes alluded to. I mean, he helped with the canine, helped with our canine, police cruiser. They just did the food bank, and I've been volunteering for these events for many, many years. I think they're says a lot about him that he did so much on behalf of our community. So, and that's all I have to say, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Judy?
Do you have a mic here?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to remind you that April 21st, the Ben Wilson Center is going to be a health fair and outside trucks for food, to have like a picnic outside and go in and get information for the health for senior citizens mostly, and there's a lot of activities going on at the Ben Wilson Center, a lot of fun, a lot of trips. If you go to our Warminster Community page, or Warminster Community Magazine, or you go to the Ben Wilson Center website, you can get a lot of information for all of the activities they have. Likewise with the library, we have all kinds of fabulous adult programs, children's programs, summer programs, camps, reading programs, and the good news is that we haven't had new books since December, and they came in this week. We got new books. So if you've been on a list waiting for your book, call the library this week, because your book might just be there. I wanted to also tell you that today is Teal Day. Teal Day is why I'm wearing teal, because it's in acknowledgement of child abuse issues in Pennsylvania. April is the Child Abuse Prevention and Awareness Month in April, and it's a national day. And I also wanted you to know that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys are sexually abused by age 18. And those are big numbers, and we need to figure out how to stop it, and it's been worse during everybody's being closed in for a couple of years. For info on how to help fight this abuse problem, go online to www.d2l.org. And the Pennsylvania Child Abuse Hotline, if you see something going on, is 800-932-0313. And also, I want to remind you that they're picking up yard waste now, from now until December 15th. So you can put your yard waste out now. That's it.
Thank you, Judy. And Janice?
I just wanted to wish everybody a happy March. It's good to see so many people here in person. It's been nice getting to know everyone in the township, and I'll leave it at that. Keep it short.
Okay, thank you. All right. So I did have some announcements from the EAC, but we have a member here tonight, and that'll be fall under presentation. So Amy, why don't you come up to the podium and give us an update?
Good
Good evening, everybody. My name is Amy Sanchez Hamilton. I am the chair of the EAC. Thank you so much for entrusting me with another year of being chairperson for your EAC. What I'd like to do tonight is just give you a general overview of what you'll be getting in our draft 2021 year-end report. Just a goal review of the things that we set out to try to accomplish, or at least start last year, and how we ended up the year with those items, which ones are being pushed to this year, and a little rundown on a couple key points from the last 2 months of minutes. So our first goal that we had for last year was to review the stormwater ordinance. We have not done that yet, but we have been in discussions with Dalton to look over that in the coming year. We wanted to start at least revamping the EAC page of the website, which we have started on that, and it's a continuing process. So we will continue to work on that this year, try to get some updated and fresh information, maybe some cyclical information based on the seasons to keep everybody up to date of what they can do on their properties and for the environment and for their township. We wanted to look at community garden repair. We have a small community garden over at Shemanic Park, sorry, I always mess that up, that we did start working on a few years ago before the pandemic, but we wanted to take another look at it to see if we could do a little bit more work over there. We did not do anything over there last year, but I was able to go over there this year to just take some updated pictures, updated measurements, and I'll get some updated pricing for you guys to see what we need to do to get that back up and running for the citizens over there. We were talking about the possibility of doing a larger community garden, which seemed to be kind of something that people were interested in when I was talking to people during Warminster Day, doing a larger community garden possibly over at Warminster Park. Karen and I did take a minute to go over there and look at possible spaces, but I know that funding, you know, everything costs money, so I'll be working on a plan and some budgetary numbers for you guys to review at some point this season. We wanted to work on the possibility of a bird sanctuary as part of our Bird Town initiative in Warminster Township, which is also going very well. I think we're about at that point where we can put in our application to the Audubon to become a bird town and go to the next phase, which would is an additional year of continuing things that would get us up to Bird Town. The bird sanctuary, Karen and I took a look at some areas that might be a good spot for that. One of them was a nice naturalized area over back behind the Bark Park. That's already kind of meadow area. So I'll be working on that design as well, and possibly getting some donors for the plant material for that area. We have a partnership with Centennial School District. What we have been doing with them for the past several years is just working with their environmental and nature groups over there in the different schools, and just helping them wherever they need help. If they need ideas or tree sponsors or anything like that, we're just there to help them out and get them some additional information that they can use with the kids. And also to just let them know for their groups if we have any events like over the cleanup at the park that they would want to help at, they would be able to do that as well. The environmental education series, we took a couple years off that, but we are starting to do that again this year. This year we're looking at doing the following topics. Stormwater. I know that with the new MS4 that we are going to be looking at possibly some credits for the businesses and homeowners here. So we're going to be talking about what types of credits that businesses and homeowners can do. April and May, somewhere around there, we're going to be looking at wildlife gardening. In June, we're going to be looking at issues with deer, with the rising deer population in Bucks County and surrounding areas, and what homeowners can do as far as that goes. September and October, we're looking at talking about composting. And November, we're talking about reviewing the new chicken ordinance and giving out some information for chicken keeping for our residents here. We wanted to approach the high school arts program to do an EAC logo. We were originally wanting to do an EAC logo contest, but that takes a little bit more finessing as far as fitting it into the curriculum. So what we decided to do was approach a National Arts Honor Society to see if they can come up with a logo for us to just try to get the school district, involved in EAC and also in the township. And they were open to doing that for us, so that's good. And it'll help them get their community hours in as well. The invasive species removal, I think the last one that we did was very popular. We had one scheduled for a couple weeks ago that got moved due to weather. It is now on April 30th. So anybody that would like to join us for an invasive species removal for about 3 hours, please contact myself or Ken or Karen over at the park for more information on that. We wanted to attend the new AEC summit that was put on hold during the pandemic. We did do that. We were represented at the annual EAC summit that Doylestown holds. They were talking about deer population issues and control, which we have since started to talk about in Warminster as well, because I know it is also a problem here. And partnering with the Autobahn, again, Birdtown, which we talked about already. And that is going very well, so we'll continue on with that. So I think I actually covered all of the stuff that I wanted to talk about in the minutes with going over our goal review. Most of that stuff is still in progress, so we'll continue on with some of that into 2022. I would also like to invite everybody, the residents as well as the board, to please, if you guys ever have any ideas or anything that you see out that is environmentally related, please let me know. We would be more than happy to take a look at it and talk about it during our board meetings. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Amy.
Thanks, Amy. Come on back. Come on back.
Oh, no.
So the logo contest, I know you
Yes.
and I had spoken about that
Mhm.
for quite a few years.
Yes.
And you're saying it's an issue?
It wasn't like an issue. What needed to happen was we had to get the parameters of the contest over to the main principal of the high school, within a certain amount of time so that they could fit it into their curriculum. So what we ended up doing was talking to the National Arts Honor Society because they need volunteer hours because they're a National Honor Society to come up with a logo for us instead. So that way we're kind of getting two birds with one stone, so to speak.
Okay. All right. And I know the invasive species thing is very important. That's April 30th?
Right now, it's April 30th.
What time are we
yes.
starting?
I believe we wanted to start it a little bit earlier, right? 9 to 12.
9 o'clock, 9 to 12? So that's
Yes.
good. People can have time to do other things. So 9 to 12, that would be great. If anybody has any time to volunteer, that's a very important event for the parks. And I know there's some areas there that are way too, they're beyond just the community involvement, so
That's correct,
we'll
yes.
probably take care of those at some point as well. And do you have anything lined up for the environmental education series?
Yes, the next one that we have lined up, we can talk about stormwater again, but the next one we have lined up is going to be talking about wildlife gardening. So
Okay.
we'll cover topics as far as pollinators, birds, things of that nature.
Okay.
Yep.
I have a
Great.
quick question, Amy.
Yes.
Do we have, are we gonna have issues this year, foresight on the spotted lanternfly?
It's always good to keep an eye out, but in my travels, when I'm at work, it actually hasn't been as bad as it was like the initial few years. Like,
Right.
it was really, really bad, especially in this part of Bucks County. But I have seen them the past couple seasons, but it definitely has not been as bad. But I would still continue to talk to your arborists. If you have trees that are highly susceptible to spotted lanternfly, Definitely talk to them about getting treatments for those, especially fruit trees. If you have a tree of heaven on your property, if you have red maples seem to be very susceptible.
Okay,
Definitely talk to your arborist.
thank you.
Yep. Any other questions?
Yeah, I did. What was that? Oh, so we're a little bit later in the agenda, we're going to talk about some mowing, some changes in the mowing. And I know we've asked you guys to look at some places we can let go fallow or just become natural areas again.
Mow to meadow, yeah.
Yep, and also as far as Birdtown goes, I know we spoke about this as well, that
Yes.
the perfect spot for that will be the walking trails, what is now Shenandoah Woods, once we reclaim that. So I'm hoping you guys offer up some suggestions that'll bring in, of course, native species that'll bring in the, attract birds and that type of wildlife.
Yeah, so, and actually, on that note, right before the pandemic, it was like right at the beginning of the pandemic, Natural Lands Trust was held an event for this specific topic. It was about Moto Meadow, and they're targeting special districts, school districts, municipalities, because they have a lot of open space that's mown. So I think this is a fantastic idea, and we would be more than happy, really excited to work with the township on converting some of these mown areas that are, in essence, what we would call in, the horticultural field biodeserts, because they don't hold a lot of biodiversity, into areas that can really sustain wildlife and bird species and things of that nature. And it also helps with stormwater as well.
Absolutely. They don't hold a lot of water either, that's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
there's
great.
no infiltration. Yeah, and we'd like to see, I'll speak on behalf of the board if you don't mind. We'd like to see a little bit more information on the partnership with the school district.
Absolutely, yes,
Okay.
and we have been in contact via email with Tom, and I'll get him that information as well, a little bit more specific
Okay.
about what we have been doing with the school district, just the real regular correspondence that typically happens between us and the school district. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right,
Thanks, Amy.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Keep up the great work.
thank you.
Okay, Andrew, you're up. Amy took up half of your time, so hurry up.
Green light go.
There you go. Thank you.
I didn't recognize
I
you.
love
but-
it.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
So the township has 37 traffic signals. I'm sure we've all sat behind them plenty of times.
Yes, we did.
Unfortunately, these are all on state roads, but they are maintained and operated and owned by the township. So obviously, there's a financial burden that comes along with this. So PennDOT has the Green Light Go reimbursement grant fund. The funding difference is different year to year, but typically it's around $40 million. It's a competitive grant where you have a lot of people trying to get at that money. Right now, this year in '21, the township was awarded $262,000 for Green Light Go, which was from our submission in 2018 for the 2019 program. It does have a 20% match. The match for Warminster Township, fortunately, with the staff that we have in Public Works, we can utilize our match as, utilizing our crew for labor, and it's basically a labor reimbursement, so it's kind of a trade for labor. So there's really no financial burden. Anything that we wouldn't be able to do in labor costs, we could utilize liquid fuels fundings specified for traffic signals. So typically, the program is for improving mobility and safety of the existing traffic lights. It's not utilized for new traffic lights. That being said, I believe it was Pannoni's recommendations at the time, along with our traffic superintendent. The program for this year will be 5 intersections on Street Road between Valley and what's known as Commercial Drive. That would be the light before you get to York Road. And then also County Line Road in Warminster. So the upgrades would be for pedestrian push buttons, battery backup systems, trenching, which that would take us to new business, consider Armour and Sons for Green Light Go trenching. Their CoStar's vendor, it's also something that we could utilize as part of our match using what we're using Armour for. It's the type of trenching that it would be. It's important to have the equipment and the manpower and the traffic safety equipment they have to do that sort of work. The other improvements, battery backup systems, power goes out. There's battery backups in the cabinets where the traffic signals will go function. This way you're not having emergency services people going and responding to traffic signals when they probably have other more important things to handle. The radar is also going to be installed on a few of those intersections. It basically takes away from the loop sensors that are in the ground. Loop sensors are, you know, they still work, but they're problematic in that if you mill the road, you got to put new ones in. If there's a pothole that eats away with it, it needs to be replaced. If a contractor needs to run utilities through it, it needs to be replaced. So having the radar up, it's a more technological way for that to read traffic patterns. So that's another thing that will be incorporated in that. Yeah, I mean, if there's any other questions, you have to answer.
May I?
Yes, sir.
Certainly.
This is a reimbursement program, correct?
Correct.
We don't have this money sitting in our
It is in the
bank
current
account
budget,
now.
it was approved, but.
Right, but we don't have the funds yet. We're gonna have to do the work and submit the bills, the
Correct.
employees' time, the equipment that we're gonna buy, and then they would,
Yes.
this, PennDOT would reimburse us through this grant program.
Yeah, and it's pretty, I think from what the traffic superintendent, Mr. Carter, said, that it was a pretty quick reimbursement. As long as you have your paperwork in order, the check comes pretty quickly.
Good.
Good.
Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah.
Anything where, I know we've had some issues with the signal controls along Street Road. I think Lewis was the one that's kind of clogging everything up right now.
Yeah.
Can you give us an
should see
update on that?
You should see differences as of today. That's something that PennDOT, they were doing different timings. It wasn't working. We let them know. They changed the timings again. Now they're back. Today was probably the third iteration of a new timing change. So that intersection specifically was identified as one of the main ones.
Yeah, so PennDOT owns the road, we own the signal controls, but PennDOT times them?
Yeah, because they're working with other municipalities and timing, you know, full.
The whole corridor,
Yeah,
the whole
corridor.
152 corridor?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe they'll take our suggestions a little more seriously,
I mean,
because I know when one goes out, you get stopped at every one.
yeah, we've been taking every complaint that we get via Facebook, phone call, email, and forwarding it directly to them, copying all like everyone within our department that, you know. So
Okay.
unfortunately, Mr. Carter retires at the end of the summer, so we'd like to get this work done now, because without him, we would need Armour's assistance in getting this done.
Mhm.
But he's been pretty proactive in getting it penned out about these problems.
Yeah, I know, he's been doing a great job. He's a great asset to the township. Anybody else have any questions?
I just have a comment. Thank you for the report, and it's great to hear the traffic improvements that we're doing in the township, and everybody will be really happy about that. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions from the audience? Okay, thanks, Andrew. Okay. There's no land use matters,
No, sir.
so we'll open it up to public comment. Anyone? Going once, going twice, okay, thank you. Consent agenda, we'll consider the approval of the Board of Supervisors minutes dated March 3rd, 2022.
Make a motion?
Well, we'll do them all at once.
All right.
Unless there's specific changes in the minutes that we need to make. Consider Cobblestone Estates, formerly redevelopment, release number 4 from the escrow account in the amount of $107,000 for $107,471.23. Consider Nifty 50s, Warminster Plaza, 606 York Road, release number 1 from the escrow account in the amount of $62,919. Consider 911 York Road, Lot 1, Hardest Assisted Living, release number 4 from the escrow account in the amount of $135,907.05. Consider approval of Community Assistance Grant Award for the Warminster Symphony Society. Do we have you want to speak to that a little bit? One last one. And the recommendation of award of the 2022 Bucks County Consortium Stone and Materials bid. So, Tom, if you have anything to add to that, as far as the materials bid, I know we use the consortium because it saves us a fair amount of money.
Yes, sir, and the materials will be there for when Andrew needs them. Instead of having to price and acquire them on our own, they get the great price, they get the correct quantities, and we would tap into the supplies as needed as the year goes by. So at this point, we don't, Andrew advised me, we really don't know how much of each we're going to need, but they're there when we need it at a good price.
Okay,
Thank you.
great, thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm happy to be able to, the Warminster Symphony Society is a wonderful organization for the township. I know we've been talking together
Yep.
about having a concert under the stars in September, and I think that'll be a wonderful thing to showcase the park, especially with our symphony orchestra. So I'm very happy to be able to award that grant to the symphony. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Second, okay. Any other comments, questions? Any from the public? Okay, being none, let's call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries 4-0. Thank you. The finance report. I will motion to pay the bill list dated March 17th, 2022, in the amount of $1,031,890.74, and the supplemental bill list dated March 31st, 2022, in the amount of $680,841.39. Is there a second?
Second.
Any questions or comments? I know we just went through some of the bills very thoroughly.
Oh, yes, we did.
All right, any questions from the public? Okay, being none, let's call the question. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries 4-0. Am I looking at? Oh, there it is, yeah. So, so the grant to the symphony is $2,000 this year, and we're very happy to provide that funding. Thank you. Okay, what's next? John, I think you're up.
Come on down.
I will say it's tough to follow Amy and Andrew. Riveting experiences, but I will jump directly into the numbers to bore everyone to death.
Okay.
So we're still looking very good. Through the end of February, revenues are up $318,000. This is before any tax revenue actually came in. Transfer taxes are still up. They're $125,000 over last year through 2 months, and EIT's up $167,000. I am interested to see later this month, we do have a tax collection committee meeting to see how this is trending throughout the county. I do think that Warminster follows pretty much how the county goes, so that will be really interesting to see how we are compared to everyone else. On the revenue side, since Ms. Loftus isn't here, I will give a little real estate tax update on that.
Okay.
Real estate taxes through the end of March of last year, we collected 18.6%. So far this year, we collected 17.7%. So we are within 1% of last year, so we are trending on the same basis. Expenses, they are up, $268,000, and this is just the general fund. The main categories that are up are the police. looking at the line items, the only ones that stand out are the wages, but we did have several cops enter the drop program, so they had some payouts. So this is completely expected, looking at what happened and what the line items are. And the other one is increase in cost compared to last year for inspections. But there is an offset to that. Revenues are also up on the inspection side. So it's comparable and everything is trending what we expect it to. The only other thing I was going to talk about is the sanitation fund this month. So since we did the billing at the beginning of March, everyone should have got their tax bills. We actually billed out $3,676,000 for sanitation. I know it sounds like a lot. In 2021, we had 166,000 worth of senior discounts. So if we take those two numbers, we're expecting about 3.5 million for sanitation. The cost for this year is $291,000 a month, or $3,493,000. So we're only expecting about a $16,000 surplus at the end of this year. When the contract was awarded, it was from 2019 to 2025. So it was a steady rate for that time period. So I can say that it does look like from the surpluses that we had from prior years, for this one that's almost break even, and then going in further into the future, that should be the same rate with no issues going into the future.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions?
No, I know, well, that was in 2018, I think that award was approved. So,
Yeah, it was awarded in 2018, starting
yes.
in 2019.
Right, so I think that was built in to the budgets
Yeah,
as well.
for a
like-
6-year contract,
It was front-loaded,
right
wasn't
on
it?
target,
Yeah.
what the rate should be.
Right,
So.
okay. And we'll see how things go this year as far as, now that we're doing yard waste, or hopefully Mascara will keep their end of the bargain again. And I do believe, I saw a real nice improvement once they started increasing their staffing, so hopefully that continues.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks, John.
thank you.
Not getting any more phone calls, so I guess
No.
that's a good thing.
Okay, unfinished business, there is none, I don't believe.
No, sir.
New business, the Resolution 2022-10, the RACP grant.
I think we're going to have to defer this one, Mr. Chairman. We got some new suggested language from the consultant that is working with the state on the program as far as, we're going to have to reword the resolution. We'll get it to the board in May.
Do I need a motion to table that or anything? Do I need to do anything? Okay.
Without objection.
Without objection, we'll table that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, appointment to fill the vacancy in the Environmental Advisory Council. Is there,
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Mike Ferris.
is there a second?
I'd like to second.
Third,
Third? Mike, you're always there, and we have a vacancy, so any questions or comments? All right, so seeing none, let's call the question. All in favor?
aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. Congratulations, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. Seriously, everybody that volunteers, it's always a great thing for the township. Thank you.
Even at designer bag bingo shows up.
All right.
I'm everywhere.
Ah, see, there he is. He's everywhere.
All right, consider the utilization of Armor and Sons, Inc. for the Green Light Go trenching. Andrew just gave us a discussion about why we need them. They have the equipment, so is there a motion to,
Second.
Kathy? Janice seconds. Any questions or comments from the board? Question or comments from the public? Okay, being none, let's call the question. All in favor? All
Aye.
opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carries 4-0. Okay, moving right along. Professional reports. Tom?
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board, I'm proud and happy to introduce tonight our new Assistant Township Manager, Lisa Howdy-Shell, who's sitting in the office, in the audience. Lisa comes to us most recently from Norristown, and she's already jumped into the deep end working with L&I and Parks and Rec, and she's going to be, she doesn't know this one yet, but she's going to be getting in touch with Centennial School District on our behalf to work on some of the things that Amy alluded to earlier tonight. And we're really lucky to have her. She's very enthusiastic and very happy and just dying to get up to the podium and say a few things. There she is.
Welcome, Lisa.
Welcome.
Congratulations. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. I'm very excited, still very excited, week 3 to be here, and look forward to working with all of you.
Great, thank you. Well, there's a lot of work to be done.
Yes,
It's great to have another competent person on board.
thank you.
Thank you and
Thanks.
welcome.
Bye. Okay, Tom?
Also, we have a new Director of Library Services after the sudden departure of Susan Bialuke in earlier this year. We had to scramble to put together a search, and we've landed on Peter Lehue, who is a veteran of the Philadelphia Free Library System, and he is starting on the 18th of this month, Monday. He's been to the library during the discussions we had about bringing him on. He visited, he met with the staff. He's going to be returning again before he starts next, I believe it's the 14th, the next library board meeting, which will be at 6:30. I wrote it down on one of my agendas. I can't find it. I think it's the 14th.
Yeah, it's 6:30.
So the library advisory board meeting starts at 6:30 at the library. Peter's going to be there to meet everybody that wants to meet him, and we did have a brief discussion with him recently. He's very excited. I think we're very lucky to have him, and to increase the library's profile in the community with pandemic, and we're replacing directors every other year, or every year it seems. So hopefully Peter's going to stick around for a while and put a little equilibrium into it. We're coming out of the pandemic. We've got a great library, a great facility, great programs. I think Judy already alluded to many of them tonight that we have to offer. We've got new books coming in for the first time in months, and a really spectacular opportunity for a new director to come in and put us at the top of the pops. And I think we've got the right person.
I agree with you, Tom.
I think that library meeting is on the 13th. They're usually
Excuse me, the
Wednesday.
13th.
Yeah,
Pardon me. Can we-
okay.
I just wanted to say, just listening to some of the ideas that he brings with all his experience, which is very vast, he definitely thinks outside the box, and we do want to increase the foot traffic, especially with, like, he was talking about the teenagers in the high schools and all
Right.
of that, who have had previous comings and goings with the libraries as they grew up. And I think that's everything. I loved all the ideas, and that was, well, we welcome him, so.
Thank you. Well, as it was alluded to earlier with interaction with the high school, it'd be great for that to be done at the library level as well. We want to get raise the library's profile in the schools, especially the older kids.
Right.
Because we do think that as people move from age cohort to age cohort, they always are going to have a place. The library can always be a place in their lives. We move on from being school children to young adults, and then parents and seniors. There's always going to be a chair for you at the library.
Well, Peter did the whole Northwest Regional
Yes.
in Philadelphia, which includes Chestnut Hill. Includes Chestnut Hill and Germantown. Germantown Library was the very first library I ever went to when I was it's kind of nice to see him here, I think.
Yeah, and Kathy and I attended the webinar. He does have some great ideas. He's very conscientious, very accomplished, and another competent person we're bringing on board. And we did give him a charge to, our expectations were that he puts Warminster Library on the map as the library in Bucks County. That's the model. So he's looking forward to that challenge, and I think he'll do a great job. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you. Finally, tonight, grass cutting, which has been alluded to earlier this evening. We are looking to pivot from the program that we've had for the last couple of years for cutting the grass at the public facilities to engage the use of the township employees to maximize as much as can be done by our own employees with our own equipment, and maybe borrowing some from the golf course occasionally. But rather than simply relying on a contractor who we think is a little bit, it's not a very elegant plan, if I can, I'm not blaming anybody, but I think there's a role here. We have a great staff at Public Works, great staff at Parks and Rec. It's, you know, there's an opportunity there for them to get involved with, or more involved, I should say, with cutting the grass, swinging the weed whacker, because, you know, we also were buying fertilizer. It's raining like crazy. I don't know how much fertilizer we're going to need, but the price of fertilizer is going through the roof.
Yes, it
And it's coming, it's not going to come down anytime soon. It's a petroleum-based product, I think, is what I
Yeah.
heard on Bloomberg anyway.
is. And ammonia.
Yeah, ammonia,
Oh,
thank
is
you,
it?
yeah. So we want to see what areas, as we've alluded to, can we just say, you know, let it grow? You know, attract the birds and let the other plants that grow with grass to grow and help with the stormwater management, because the root structure play a part in that, and especially along areas that are near streams and stream banks, riparian areas. The basins have to function to absorb the stormwater, and a lot of them do very well when they're just left alone. So we have an opportunity for everybody involved, from the employees and the public and the EAC, to get involved and put a program together that can be unique and perhaps the best, rather than allocating, you know, $95,000 a year simply because it's there. We may end up having to buy a new piece of equipment or two along the way, but as that need presents itself, we'll certainly keep the board updated on that.
Okay.
So we're gonna have, it's a new plan for 2022, and Andrew McAdams, the star of tonight's show, is again leading the charge on that, and you can tell by the big smile on his face, he's very excited about it. He's gonna put the plan together. All the employees are gonna be at his disposal. Lisa's very excited about it. That's why all the employees are Karen, Joe, Jim, everybody's here, John,
Everybody's smiling
Kathy.
here, Tom. They're all
It's all
smiling.
places like an employee meeting, you know, we,
Well, that's
so,
good.
all right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, thank you, ladies and
No,
gentlemen.
no, that's good. I'm glad, I'd rather use our Public Works as the resource to, I wouldn't call it just grass cutting, let's say we'll call it beautifying Warminster Township. And, you know, I hope they're up for that challenge as well, because, you know, the last thing we want to do is lose any township employees, and if this keeps everybody busy and everybody working, then that's a good thing. Okay. Mr. Flagger, Solicitor's Report.
We provided a report, if anyone has any questions. We provided our report. If anyone has any questions, we're happy to answer it. Otherwise, wish everyone a wonderful Easter and Passover holiday coming up.
Okay, thank you. And always, last but not least,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a few items to go over. It's been a busy couple of months. Your new manager, Mr. Scott, keeps me busy and my staff, and working overtime a lot. First project update is the park project. They continue to work on the punch list. I got an update today. Unfortunately, with all this rain, they're supposed to be working on the fields. Karen and I spoke before the meeting. There's still just areas where it's holding water, and they're fully aware of it. We gave them a preliminary punch list back in October, and then you had the winter, and now we have a lot of rain, but we're staying on top of that, and hopefully we have some good weather here, and we'll get that wrapped up. I was going to let Andrew speak. There's the pre-con meeting for your road program is scheduled Tuesday, April 12th at 9:30. That's confirmed.
Road program and ADA.
And I was going to say, and then the ADA will be at the same time. So that's Tuesday, April 12th at 9:30. Another old project, but also new. We've had a lot of smaller projects in the industrial park, Street Road Industrial Park. Smaller ones, and they've come through. Not a lot of fanfare, but we continue to have stormwater problems in that area. So Andrew and my staff, working with Mr. Scott on trying to identify some of those. So we did an inspection of the regional basin out there, identified some issues, and the owner, I did find out today, the owner of the regional basin did receive their notification by certified mail today. So we'll see where that goes. And hopefully continue to try to work on addressing stormwater management issues in the area. Once they're identified, I think then the WMA will probably get involved at a certain point. 2 updates on land development that you may see relatively soon. Warminster Center at Street and Norristown Road, that was the shopping center proposed. We saw that last year sometime. It didn't go over too well.
Right.
They submitted their plans, we did a review, it didn't go over too well, we had a staff meeting, didn't go too well. I don't think I lost my cool, but I got close to, as Mr. Scott said, I was very direct. I think they got our message. I just received only sent to me just to give a 10,000-foot level review of only 3 units, Sprouts grocery store, retail restaurant building, and then another smaller restaurant retail building. So they reduced the density, reduced the curb cuts. I still think they're going to need some relief, but they did make a big attempt and a big adjustment. It'll be individual lots. It'll look like one, continuous retail shopping center area, but they honor the zoning and they're trying to comply with all zoning. They will be submitting that for a sketch plan only. They're going to take a step back, and then I'm recommending they come see you and present. I still think they might need a few variances. We'll see what the impact is once we do a review, but I anticipate May or June you'll see that. I'd like to get input from you on that before they go to zoning hearing board.
Okay.
So
So what I'm hearing from you is that there are going to be some issues we're going to have to iron out, but you
Yeah.
believe it's workable.
yeah, I mean, it's Sprouts Organic, and I'm not familiar
Right.
with them. They're kind of driving the layout. They're driving, what they need.
Okay.
They don't have tenants for the other buildings yet. So I did have a conversation with the engineer yesterday for about an hour, went over the plan, gave him some feedback, and then he's getting ready to submit that for review to the zoning officer in my office next week.
Thank you, Craig.
Craig, are they still planning to put a light there, like an entrance across from Norristown Road?
Yes, they're working at, they're gonna work with,
Up
I
there?
asked them to actually contact PennDOT and get feedback before they come see you, so we know what PennDOT's gonna require. There was one extra driveway that I didn't feel was needed, or at least do a right in, right out closer to Norristown. There'll be 2 entrances, across from, and on Norristown, there'll be 2 entrances near Sprouts grocery store.
Are they still talking about redirecting the stream?
No,
Okay.
that's the issue, that there's setbacks to there's wetlands there too.
Right.
I
Right.
think they're gonna be not in the wetlands, but still in this riparian setback to the wetlands.
Okay.
They've greatly reduced it, but it eats up so much of the property, it's hard to be developed. I
Yeah.
think there's some legitimate hardship there as far as the natural resources, and that's what I want them to walk through with you.
Okay.
in May or
Good
June.
idea.
All right?
Thank you.
The other project you may see, may also take a step back, you haven't seen it yet, is, we're calling it Evergreen Avenue Apartments. It's actually zoned commercial. They did get zoning relief, I'm gonna say a year and a half ago. It's actually between York and Evergreen, next to Altamontes. They got zoning approval for apartments and then commercial. The commercial is actually by right. They get a review letter. It's lengthy. There's a lot of zoning issues. They may want to come in and present to you about just doing apartments, maybe doing 1 or 2 more apartments, eliminating the commercial. It's my opinion that if we can eliminate commercial trucks or retail trucks on Evergreen, I think you'd be, and I already see the nodding. I
Thank
needed a
you.
few more of those today, so now they're waiting for direction for me to
Yeah.
go ahead and
No trucks.
revise that, yes. So I got a nodding of the heads. I'm gonna give them some direction. If they have to go back to the zoning hearing board and modify their approval, they would just ask for 2 more apartments and eliminate any commercial on that property. and then they would come and present that to you at sketch plan level. So,
Okay,
all right?
thank you.
All right, so that's all I have, and it was lengthy, but I think they were important projects, and
Yes.
hopefully you will see them shortly.
Okay, thank you,
Can
Craig.
I ask a follow-up question?
Certainly.
Township engineer? Craig, is it correct to say that we're talking about the punch list now for Warminster Community Park? We are down to mostly items concerning, for lack of a better term, puddling. Is that correct? Would you say that's correct?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to sell that short. It definitely needs to be addressed.
Yeah, most of the pictures I have right here show
Yeah.
puddling throughout the fields, the basketball
Yeah.
court, yes.
So we're not, the punch list isn't, they owe us, they gotta move another 14,000 cubic yards of dirt, but they do need to take care of some wet spots in the pavilion, on the baseball warning track, a couple other places, and then we can make these facilities available to the public, and we are talking these days with an outfit that can help us do that, to put games on those fields and courts. Lisa and I are gonna meet with the YMCA, I think in 2 weeks, just to make sure we're not stepping on anybody's memo of understanding toes.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Greg.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I remember at a much younger age playing in Philadelphia. Remember all the leagues? I mean, we have 6 beautiful basketball courts. We should they should be
Filled all the
filled.
time. Yep.
Yes.
That's right.
I want to get back to the old days when I coached and
Yeah.
everything filled.
When we were done
Everybody's
playing basketball, we played
Yes.
baseball.
Baseball,
Or football,
basketball.
or whatever, and then we went back and played basketball. So
Yep.
we have a wonderful, and by the way, a $5 million project, millions of tons of earth moved, graded. You're going to have a couple low spots here and there. That's a natural, it's not a hard thing to repair if you have good weather.
No, and
So-
some of those are ongoing, they'll be, especially going through the winter.
Right.
And then the spring, you need to, get a full season of growth and mowing and all that. You're
Right.
still gonna have some issue. I coached baseball, I volunteered, we had to do our own field maintenance. It's constantly, chasing a little bit. Karen
Yeah.
mentioned about bringing some more infield deck, so you may need to do that, and eventually you'll get it there, but there's
It
nothing.
takes a while.
There's
Yeah, and
nothing
that's
major.
another,
It went very well. The project, to be honest with you, couldn't have gone any better as far as any major issues, major concerns, hitting any type of, having a major field change, which I don't think we brought any major field changes to you through the whole project. So,
Right.
Karen and her staff did a great job. I think my staff did a great job. Your Public Works, everybody, WMA helping out. So I think just about every department helped out with that project, and hopefully you guys will get to enjoy it a lot this summer.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I know when I played down in Florida and all the major league training facilities and stadiums, as soon as it rained, you weren't allowed on the fields. I mean, you want to talk about pride in their baseball fields. And, and I would expect the same thing here, that I'm not sure yet who's going to do the maintenance on them, if it's Public Works. I mean, we would expect it, again, this is a showcase. I would expect that the entire Bucks County and maybe some of Montgomery County would look at us and say, wow, they're beautiful fields. There was nothing better than walking out on a field that had, the ground ball didn't pop up and hit you in the face. And the grass was so manicured, it took all the energy out of the ball and it was easy to field. I think our Public Works can do that.
I believe it.
I really do.
I agree.
With Andrew's help.
Yep.
And of course, the park. Don't forget, I'm not the park, we can always get advice from our golf course, because boy, does that place look good, as far as turf and everything else. So we have a lot of resources that we can use, and I think Warminster's really should be proud. We should all be proud of what we have here, and it's going to become a showcase. So thank you very much for your help. And Parks and Rec, and Public Works, and of course our police, and our firemen, and
It takes all of us.
it's a good community.
Right, takes all of us.
Yes.
And Mr. Hayes and I were talking about this earlier today, and we were saying how much the township's changed in the last few years with, filling up some of the empty storefronts and, greening things up and cutting back on the impervious surfaces and all the EAC improvements that we have made in the township. So it's really nice, you drive around, you see these things like, yes, this looks really good. So
Yes.
let's just keep it up. I think we're doing a great job.
Okay. All right, are we having a meeting? Second meeting?
I would suggest, Mr. Chairman, that we not meet on the 21st of April. I think we've covered everything we need to cover.
Any objections from the board? No. Okay, so we'll cancel 21st.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. There's other meetings here on the back of the agenda. Of course, Mike will be at quite a few. And and we welcome everyone
everywhere,
to
he
attend.
says.
I mean, the EAC has a lot of good stuff going on, and we welcome participation there. Of course, the library, Parks and Rec. Again, we want our library and Parks and Rec to be the model for the county. Okay.
Our library is the only gold star library in Bucks County, so I think you should know that.
That's great.
I will also mention something about our amazing library. Many, many years ago, my mom, I grew up in western Pennsylvania. My mom came out here and they were considering building a brand-new library there in Moon Township where I grew up. She goes to our library and she says, this is what we need in our town. And guess what? They came pretty darn close, and that is one nice library. I always tell them when I visit out there, that's because my mom got the tips from the library we have in Warminster. So that's where we want to be, right?
That's
Everybody
right.
else copies what we're doing. So I
That's
just
right.
wanted to mention that.
We want to be the model.
That's right.
All right. So public comment, round 2. Anyone? Going once, going twice, because they're all employees, I think, we're here, aren't they, tonight?
This is like an employee meeting tonight.
Yes.
All right, so no more public comment,
right?
supervisor comments. I'd just like to wish everyone in the township and everyone here happy Easter, happy Passover holiday. Be safe, and we'll see you again next month, May 3rd, I think it is, right? Yeah, May 3rd. Okay. Kathy?
Yes, I would just like to wish everyone a happy Easter and happy Passover also. And I'd also like to say thank you to all our department heads, our employees, everybody who contributed to this meeting tonight, because we sure got a lot of work done on behalf of our residents, and that's what we're here to do. And I'm real happy with all the incentives that we did today.
Yes, good government. Thank you.
Yes, good government. Thank you.
All right, Judy?
Good meeting, Ken, and I'll say again, happy holidays to everybody. I hope everyone I hope at the end of these holidays we find peace, especially in Ukraine. And I want people to remember that we have a lot of residents in Warminster that are Ukrainian descent residents, and we also have a lot of Russian residents, and the Russian people didn't do this. Putin did it. So I heard somebody say they hate Russians. Don't hate Russians, don't hate Ukrainians, treat them with love and try to understand the desperation they're going through right now.
Thank you.
Well said, Judy.
Well said. I had the opportunity this week, I probably should have said this at the earlier supervisor's comments. I was at the fire that our township responded to earlier this month. And to see our firefighters in action and how they came together with the other surrounding townships was really remarkable. Following up after the fire and seeing how our ordinances are written, we need to make sure that we're, like we said, we're here for the township and for the residents, so we're going to be looking at that. So I appreciate the opportunity to serve you as your township supervisor. I wish you all a happy Easter and happy Passover, and may your have a time, like you said, to think and let's move forward in peace. You know, reach out to your neighbors next door. The spring has sprung. It's time to get outside and talk to people. You know, masks are off, so get back to being good neighbors. Set the example. Good night.
Thanks, Janice. And yeah, just remember, we're all neighbors. We all live here. So, you know, not only do we have good government, but everyone should respect one another. And this, again, will be a model township. So, motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Thank you very much. Good night, everyone.